Lesson 6 and 7, Equivalent Equations. We have another shopping word problem. Suppose we bought 2 packs of markers and a 50-cent glue stick for $6.10. First, we're going to write an equation for the total cost, $6.10, using P as the cost of 1 pack of markers. So I'm going to put my total cost here, $6.10, and I know I bought 2 packs of markers, so it's going to be 2 times unknown cost for the pack of markers, plus 1 glue stick will be 50 cents, equals $6.10. Now I can solve my equation to find the cost of 1 pack of markers, which is P. So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to get P by itself. I'm going to solve it. So I'm going to subtract 0.5 from both sides, 50 cents, and then I get 2P equals $5.60. Divide both sides by 2, and I get P equals $2.80 for a pack of markers. All right, here's another word problem. Now we have a friend who buys 6 of the same pack of markers and 3 of the same glue sticks and paid more money, $18.30. So pause the video and write the equation for the friend. So we have $18.30, and now we have 6P plus 3 times 50 cents equals that. I can simplify that. I'm going to write it down here. Say 6P plus, I'm going to multiply that 3 times the 50 cents, so $1.50 total equals $18.30. And now we're going to solve it for P again. So we're going to get P by itself by taking $1.50 away from both sides, and then I get to 6P equals $16.80. It's a good thing for a calculator here. You could use your calculator, divide both sides by 6, and I get the same thing. The cost of a pack of markers equals $2.80, which makes sense because the friend's buying the same pack of markers. So these 2 equations have the same solution. They have the solution of P equals $2.80. And if we were to plug that back into our original equation, that would make the equation true. That is the solution to the equation. So equations that have exactly the same solution are known as equivalent equations. And we're going to see now, what could we do to this first equation? 2P plus 0.50 equals 610. What can we do to that equation that does not change the equality of the 2 sides to get the second equation, to get this equation? If they're equivalent, then we can do something that's mathematically allowed to get to the other equation. So the main thing with equations is whenever you do something to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other side. That's what an equation is. It's the 2 sides are equal, so we can't upset that balance. We have to do the same thing to both sides. So let's take a look here. So pause the video and see if you can see what is done. All right, you may have seen that, I'm going to use a different color here. You may have seen that if we multiply both sides of the equation by the same value, both sides by 3, we will get that second equation. So now if I distribute the 3 like so, I get 6P plus 150 equals 3 times $6.10 is $18.30. So that's another way to tell that 2 equations are equivalent equations. If you do something mathematically allowed, the same thing to both sides, and you get the other equation, those are equivalent equations. Now we're going to take the same equation and we're going to see these other equations are all equivalent to that equation. And we're going to find out in this column here, we're going to figure out what was done to this original equation. Here is the original equation to get the equations in this column. Okay, so let's look here. What is different about these two equations? Well, the 2p is the same. They both have 2p. But here we have a 4 versus 50 cents, $4, and then we have 960 versus 610. So if I add 3.5 or $3.50 to both sides, which is allowed because we're doing the same thing to both sides, the 2p doesn't change, which is good. We don't want it to. But this number becomes 4, and then 610 plus 350 becomes 960, and that does match this equation. So these are equivalent equations. All right, we're being told that these are also equivalent equations. Now what do we need to do to each side? So I encourage you to pause the video and try this on your own. So here, we simply need to subtract 50 cents from both sides, and we get 2p equals 560. These are the same equation. Okay, next one here. This one's a little tricky. Here we are doing something where we are multiplying both sides of the equation by 1/2. So we are multiplying this side of the equation by 1/2 and this side by 1/2. Now, this side here, we did not distribute the 1/2, which is okay. We can leave it undistributed. But then we did multiply the 610 times 1/2 and got 305. So that's what was done to make these two, to make this equivalent equation. And the last one here, we have something called the reverse of the distributive property, which is factoring out a number. And you'll learn more about that in later chapters. Here what happened is we took that 2, and we did the reverse of distributive property, and we kind of divided it out from both terms. And then the other side just stayed the same. We didn't multiply, we didn't change this side at all. We didn't multiply it by 2 or divide by 2. We just wrote it in a different way. Notice that if I were to do the distributive property, 2 times p and 2 times 0.25, I would get back to this original thing here, 2p plus 0.5. So that's what was done there, and that's it for lessons 6 and 7.